What's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Burnt. In a previous episode, I mentioned that if there's chips and salsa at a party, that's where you're gonna find me. Well, same thing goes for today's dish, bruschetta. Bruschetta has a few variations, but it's an antipasta from Italy which consists of grilled bread with olive oil and garlic. Today's variation is gonna have tomato and basil on top, and if that sounds good to you, well, let's get into it. Bruschetta is an appetizer dish that is packed with flavor that's not only savory, but it is also refreshing. The brightness of the tomatoes and the balsamic really get a boost of flavor from the basil and the garlic. The recipe that I'm going to be talking about today is something that my mom's been making for a while now, and it is absolutely fantastic. So there's a few things that you're going to need to make this dish. One of them is Roma tomatoes, olive oil, basil, garlic, minced and granulated, balsamic vinegar, balsamic glaze, Parmesan cheese, salt, pepper, and a large baguette. So now that you've got all your ingredients, let's go ahead and dice your tomatoes and get them into a large bowl. So now let's go ahead and add a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of granulated garlic, and a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar. Now, let's go ahead and get a quarter cup of extra virgin olive oil into a pan with a tablespoon of minced garlic. We're gonna cook the minced garlic until it starts to bubble a little bit. And once that happens, go ahead and take your pan off the heat and set it to the side to let it cool down. Once it's cooled down, go ahead and pour that mixture on top of your seasoned tomatoes. Now don't be shy. Feel free to go ahead and taste what you've seasoned so far, and if you feel like it needs more salt, pepper, garlic, or balsamic, feel free to go ahead and add that to taste. Now, let's go ahead and get your baguette and get it thinly sliced while adding olive oil and garlic. We're gonna wanna put this in the oven at 350 on broil for 10 minutes on each side or until you get a nice golden brown. Once everything's nicely toasted, let's go ahead and slice your basil and get it into your mix. The reason why we wait to the very end to add the basil is because we wanna keep it as fresh as possible. Now, all that's left to do is add Parmesan cheese, a little bit of balsamic glaze, and enjoy. And that is bruschetta. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, it's packed full of flavor. It's savory, but refreshing at the same time. You honestly can't go wrong. My mom brought this to an event for lunch, and immediately all of her clients started eating it, wondering where they can buy it. And I guess that's just my way of telling you that you absolutely need to make this recipe at home because you're gonna fall in love with how delicious this is. So if you have a restaurant or a recipe that you love, leave that in the comments below because I would love to check it out. And as always, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications bell for the next set of burnt videos.